Oregon met and answered the challenge on the biggest stage possibly of his college career. And we haven't seen the numbers just yet for how many people tuned into this game. I'm sure it'll be some astronomical number. I'm sure it was very, very widely viewed across the country. It was the biggest game of Dylan Gabriel's career. You could point back to last year's Red River game. Okay, fine. He played great in that one too. But this to me, with the buildup, with the hype, with the excitement, with the fact that it's a top 3 team, the first time that Oregon's had a top 5 team in their house in a long time, the biggest win arguably in Oregon history. Dylan Gabriel played his best game in a Ducks uniform. And I thought there were a lot of things he did really well in this game when I went back and watched it. One, he got the ball out really quick. I mean, he was getting it. He understood that the offensive line, against the athleticism of the Ohio State defensive front, they were going to lose some of those battles. So he's got to get the ball out quick. So he made really quick decisions. He also did a great job of pushing the ball down the field. Clearly, this was the plan for Oregon going into the game, is saying, hey, let's challenge Ohio State deep. Ohio State coming into this game had not allowed a pass play of 30 or more yards. Well, Gabriel was money on those downfield throws. Hits one to Tez Johnson, hits one to Evan Stewart in stride. I mean, a couple of back-breaking touchdowns and big plays created with the downfield throw. Then you look at the run game. I was curious. I didn't know how well Oregon would be able to run the football. But, man, Jordan James, and I saw after the game, Dan Lanning described his running back as a guy that just runs angry. Well, it looked that way. That's for sure. 23 carries, $115 and a score. The weapons on the outside, whether it's Johnson, whether it's Stewart, whether it's Terrence Ferguson, who was really important. Of the 23 completed passes, 20 of those 23 went to those 3 guys. And there was time where it was like Oregon fans, college football fans, we were all waiting for Evan Stewart to kind of make his presence known. It had been all, and we talked about this in the preview last week, it had really been all about Tez Johnson. I mean, almost to the point where they were force-feeding Tez Johnson, just force-feeding him, and he was just getting look after look after look. I mean, he had, I think we had said in like a couple weeks span, he had like 26 targets, and the next closest was 11. When are those things going to even out? Well, they did in a big way this past weekend. Evan Stewart, you know he's a home run hitter. You know he's got top-end speed. You know he can break down a defense with great route running. Well, granted, from a consistency standpoint, wasn't really there early in the season, but this was by far his best game, and maybe the best game of his career dating back to his time at Texas A&M. The touchdown before halftime that gave them the lead, obviously, finishing the game with nearly 150 there in the game as well. He also, I think, once he got going a bit, it really opened things up for Oregon on the underneath. I thought the offensive line managed no sacks, only a couple tackles behind the line of scrimmage. Like, they were really good. And look, Oregon did this without arguably their best defensive weapon in Jordan Birch. So you could tell that his absence was felt because there were a couple of big runs that Ohio State was able to rip off. But either way, it was phenomenal. The onside kick, was it an onside kick? I don't know. I mean, I know Andrew Boyle kicked it and it hit right off an Ohio State player. Clearly caught him off guard. That was big. Them being able to steal that extra possession, leading to 3 points to give them the lead. And people will still continue to nitpick fourth down. This has been a long series, a relationship with Dan Lanning and fourth down, dating back to the Washington game or in 22 and 23. I mean, fourth down is going to be a big thing that is continued to be discussed. I mean, you're sitting there, do you kick the short field goal to cut into the 6-point lead, or do you go for the touchdown and try to eliminate the lead? Well, they went for it. But at this point, people are always going to nitpick fourth down when it comes to Dan Lanning. It's just become a huge part of the conversation. But this was a tremendous performance because Ohio State did not play poorly. Ohio State played pretty well. Oregon just made the bigger plays at the bigger moments, which gave them the win.